Hi, this is Sarah Vaughn from Harley-Davidson, and I am here talking to Karen Davidson, the great-granddaughter of one of the founders. Hi, it's so good to talk to you.
Hi, it's great to talk to you too. I feel a privilege, and I I think we as girls have a lot to say, don't we?
I have so much interest in your life. How was it growing up in the Davidson family? Just being a motorcycle-centric household in general.
Yeah, we had so much fun, and we were a very active family. We were very much involved, of course, in events and a lot of racing. And my dad being the notable, iconic industrial designer, and he led the Harley-Davidson styling department for many years and came up with so many iconic bikes. That actually led us to look at and go to a lot of shows, a lot of events, a lot of races. And, we took in all the Harley-Davidson races. And so from a very young age on, I was very much involved in getting out and being with a lot of enthusiasts. And that really shaped my interest. And of course, I started riding at a very young age, but you could tell that, I was it was part of our life, right? And if we weren't at an event or we weren't at a race, we were doing other activities, camping, skiing, etc. So it was a very active upbringing, I would say.
Yeah. So how early would you say you started riding?
I was about 9 when my brothers and I got a chance to learn how to ride. And of course, it was a great thrill from the start. It was just amazing. I never let it go.
So you got to you kind of just rolled along with the brothers and got to do what they were doing.
Well, yeah. 2 brothers, so it was the 3 of us, and of course my dad taking us for rides when we were super young, when we didn't ride. And so I guess I've been on two wheels for an awfully long time. Like I said, just, if we weren't at an event or riding, we were watching races. And so early on, I think some of my my heroes are some of the women that have been involved in racing. And, I can say that I was actually inspired by those women who were brave enough to hit the track and do their professional racing. And I would say that really inspired me to become a real proficient rider. So I would, I think growing up, it was always being around the sport, but then I looked for ways to really be inspired. And I have to say, I found that through racing. I think when I was 10 years old, I told my mom that I wanted to be a racer.
Wow.
And she just kind of crossed her eyes and said, I thought nurse, honey.
Did you have other female friends growing up that rode?
I didn't. I rode mostly with the boys. It seemed like, and I had 2 brothers, so it seemed like our family friends had a lot of boys. So I have to say that was a big part of and it was just natural. It was part of my community.
I'm excited that International Women's Ride Day is coming up. What does having this day as a day mean to you?
It makes me reflect and admire all the women I've met over the many years, and how, if I had the chance to have one-on-one, which I always love, if we're at an event, somebody wants to tell me a story, somebody wants to say, riding has changed my life. I love that. And so for me, that day gives me a chance to reflect on the many women that I've met over the years, and just how motorcycling gives back to them. And I've heard amazing stories. I've heard, challenges overcome. I've heard motorcycling inspires me. I'm now writing a book. I'm now doing this. I can say overwhelmingly, motorcycling has changed women's lives. The women that have chosen to embrace the sport of motorcycling, it has changed their lives in amazing ways. I've heard the stories. So it's a chance for me to reflect on the meaningfulness of that. And, I'm always happy to be out with our customers. I think I told you earlier that it's been a part of the Davidson family for a very long time. And I really I respect that again, I have to reflect on the enthusiasm that women have for the sport. I'm sure, you may feel that as well. I think there's huge curiosity. Women riders inspire other women. I just think that, there's this huge role effect with women in riding. I've seen it at these various events, and it wouldn't surprise me if it just someday it's just not talking about it as something so special, but it's just kind of normal that there's as many women in the sport, or it's more natural that there's women in the sport than, wow, women are riding. I mean, women have been with us riding for so many years, right? If you go back to the teens and the 20s, and they've been participants in the sport. And I think, the events certainly speak to how this is just going to keep rolling forward. And again, women encourage other women. My heroes are the women that get out and race and fly airplanes and do all kinds of brave things with various motor-powered vehicles. And so I think, there's a sense of, wow, if she can do that, I can do it. What I think is so amazing today is the way the women motorcycling community has really expanded. And I can say last year I went to Babes Ride Out, and it was just a great experience. I think women are so inspired by other women riders and how many there are today. And I think it just keeps rolling forward with more women getting on the road and inspiring the younger women. And I think there's also, with the younger generations today, there's just this throw caution to the wind. Let's just go for it. Let's not, hesitate. Let's learn how to do this and go for it. And I love that kind of attitude. I love the openness about women riding today, and the openness of them to try new things and just get involved in sports like motorcycling. And it's really inspirational.
It is. I agree. I don't know where you are in the family, but I am the youngest, and I'm the only girl, and I have two brothers. So it was great that my family was similar. Like, I got to do what the boys did, and I grew up wanting to ride and getting to ride off-road vehicles first and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think the time is now for women to do whatever they want. And I love that there's no apprehension. I'm sensing the exact same thing that you are. And I just absolutely love it. I think last year was my first Babes Ride Out, and Babes Ride has been going on for a while. I just didn't have the time. But when I went last year, I was just I just loved the diversity in age range that I saw, and the various bikes, and just like the sharing and the enthusiasm was like off the charts. It was just one of the greatest events I've been to, as far as women and encouragement, empowerment, all that through motorcycling. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I've made it to one of those, and yeah, I completely agree. It's such a great place and you just come out of it just more self-confident and just energized in general.
Yeah, and I find that there's just such an openness to share experiences, road trips, inspire other women to look forward to this event or share like an awesome road trip, this through the mountains, and you got to go to this state, and you got to go, you got to do this highway. And it was an amazing, there was nobody holding back, really. I think that the more people are encouraged to take the sport on and do some of the distance riding that I know you probably love too. It's just the best way to escape. It's just it's the best way to feel that sense of peace and calm and anti-stress, and you simplify your life, and you've got this beautiful machine. It gives you like a Zen-like feeling. It's just quite amazing.
It's just it can be emotional.
And right now we need the stress relief, and I find when I get on my bike, it does it for however long I can do it. It's a great way to escape for however long you can. It is truly freedom for your soul. It sets you free.
So do you see a lot of similarities or differences between riding community versus U.S. versus international?
What I've experienced is the community difference is, I would say, in Europe, when I've been with just quite a number of riders, whether it's been an annual hog rally or European Bike Week, the community is made up of, because Europe is Europe, and it's made up of many diverse countries and languages and cultures. There's such a diversity, and the beauty of Harley is that we pull people together no matter where they're from, right? So when I go over to Europe, the beauty of it is I see a ton of diversity. You feel that at Say European Bike Week. People are having an amazing vacation. They've come from all over Europe. Some people come in from Asia.
When did you kind of start to understand your part in the global brand?
Well, it's interesting because I was extremely inspired by my dad, who is, an artist, designer. He's an iconic industrial designer. And I grew up with his amazing influence of forming an eye for design and line and shape and so on and so forth, and also studying many vehicles at many different shows and customization. So I found my way into advanced art. I also wanted to be in business. So everything kind of converged, and I ended up going to fashion school, studying couture. I've always been a highly creative person, but then I studied the engineering of apparel, and then I loved the big business of apparel. And I landed there, and it really was a matter of right time, right place, because Harley-Davidson really didn't have an apparel division for many, many years. Although we've been doing clothing since 1912, and the first garment showed up through a dealer publication advertisement in 1912, and we've done pieces throughout the years. A bona fide division was not formed until the 90s. We got it rolling, and it was, again, right time, right place. I never planned on being with the company. I was rolling along, doing a lot of things in the apparel business, and it was time to understand that this brand had depth of meaning, more than just a couple pieces a year or, repeat items or just opportunities to showcase a new logo, but to actually build rider apparel, build the right kind of things that riders needed.
So what is it like having a museum that's based on your family?
That museum, our Harley-Davidson museum, is just so amazing that it has such a reach to non-riders that know the brand. I have such pride for our brand and how it attracts non-riders. That the special nature of that museum is that it surprises people. It is so much more than just the lineup of our bikes throughout the years. It speaks to the various decades, the culture, and it just enlightens non-riders. And to see people transform to become Harley-Davidson enthusiasts, knowing our legacy and our history, that gives me a very awesome sense of pride. And, I think the museum is just quite amazing. But I think of what it gives to people and how it, inspires, enlightens people, because it's awesome. And what can I say? It's a great place. With Bill and I still being involved in the company, we tend to have a very intuitive sense about certain things that are being discussed, certain opportunities. We having grown up with a lot of events and being close to our riders, we have a real sense of the importance of our riders first, enthusiasts, and what this company means to people that ride. as a brand, as a company, and how to look out for that and do the right thing. And that's just, I can say it's intuitive, right? Because it's kind of our life. It's what we've known our entire life. So while you look at business strategies, while we understand that, at least we can add in, maybe this should be, thought of, or we should think of this from our heart, our soul, our connection with people.
What would you say some of your favorite roads to travel are?
That's a hard one. I can say that I think just out of interest, because I don't live in Europe. When I go over to Europe, and I've got the awesome opportunity to ride the roads in Austria, let's say around Falkersee European Bike Week. I've had some awesome tours around there. I've toured around a little bit of Switzerland, and I think I would have to say around Falkersee, I've had really some nice experiences. Although for the 115th anniversary, I was in Prague and I was riding in the city, and what an awesome city, an awesome European city of just super friendly people and very open. And that was, so you can reflect on a great urban type of riding environment, and you can reflect on, awesome mountain roads. It's so diverse. I really have a hard time picking a favorite. And then you talk about Highway 1, and I've ridden up the coast a number of times. I've ridden in Japan. It's hard. Every experience is different, right? But I think I prefer the openness, and I think part of that feeling of truly escaping is really getting into your head how much you can appreciate the landscape and the country, and it takes you really to a different place. And whether it's a mountain, even across the plains to Sturgis, mm-hmm. There's this feeling of, I so appreciate this country and the beauty of it.
What would you say for yourself? What does riding do for you personally?
For me, it's a way to it really clears the mind. And I've got a super creative mind. I can visualize things in 3D. And if I'm trying to solve something or else just invent something, I do that so easily when I ride, because everything moves out of the head, all the worry, all the stress. And then I can just think clearly. It's a very creative outlet for me. That's how it's for me. I mean, you're feeling good. You're feeling like you're just getting into yourself and enjoying the atmosphere and what you're doing and the ride. And it's so much fun. But then for the long journeys, for the long road, if I've got a long road ahead of me, it's head clearing and it's inspiration. And I can think of things that I want to do, and I can think of solutions really easily. So that's how the Zen works for me, of that being, one with your motorcycle. And I have heard it time and time again, it's the best therapy you can ever ask for, right? We hear that so many times, and we just hear that, it's a sport that gives back in so many ways, and it's just good for the soul.